General, beginning with you, this is for both gentlemen. Immigration reform is a pretty big issue here because of its effect on agriculture. Could you describe to us what a comprehensive immigration reform means to you, what it looks like in broad outline?
Yeah, it's a great question. You know, we do have a large number of people who are here. I think you hear all kinds of different numbers depending on who you're talking to that are undocumented people here in the United States. And let me tell you where we need to start with this. We need to start by making sure that we know who and what is coming across our borders, coming across our coast, and coming through our ports. If we could make sure that we do the right thing along our borders, not necessarily for the immigration problem, but because of national security reasons. That's the biggest threat to us. It's not what somebody does in some cave over there in Afghanistan. It's what's going to come across our borders one of these days and go boom here in the country. But if we were to use our technology and our research and development to make sure that we had a system that would tell us who's coming in and who's going out, we could then begin to fix the problem of all those that are here without documentation. There needs to be a reasonable program to citizenship for those people who are here and have been paying taxes under some bogus Social Security number and whatever. There needs to be some penalty for being here. But these things need to be worked out. And we certainly shouldn't punish the children for what their parents did. I do support the DREAM Act. So, you know, there's a lot of work that we can do here, and then at the end we have to have a worker program for our agriculture. I've lived in Europe where they have these worker programs and they work fine over there in Europe. There's no reason why we couldn't bring in a farm worker program so that they come in, they stay here for the time they need to be here, and then they go back at the end of the program. It can be done.
Could you just, for clarification, talk about a couple of things in your estimation someone who is here illegally has to do in order to get on that path to citizenship, whether it be serving in the military or whatever it might be?
Well, given back to our volunteer army situation, if someone is here undocumented and we can do the security checks and things that we need and they meet the criteria, which means you can't be obese, you have to have a high school education, and you can't have a drug offense. If they could join the military, I'd love to give them an opportunity to be a citizen. There should be some penalty for being here undocumented. I think we could discuss how severe that should be, but it shouldn't be something that just is impossible. There needs to be a possible approach for all of those good people. They didn't come here to go on welfare, as the other side of the aisle so often likes to portray this. They came here to find a job. And there are lots of jobs that are out there that we need them to do. So, the parameters of this program seem to me to be within the box of what reasonable bipartisan people could work out.
Well, I believe that people should be in this country legally, and if they're not, then they shouldn't be here. And you can't just brush off the consequences of illegal immigration. The costs are real, and that doesn't mean that anybody's necessarily, or that most are even necessarily here to go on welfare. The bottom line is that the health care costs that states and that localities have to pay, the education costs that localities have to pay, good gracious, the law enforcement costs, and the deadly results that we see down along the border states of drug crime and drug murder. Those are all very real consequences that we may not be as familiar with here in Virginia, considering how far away we are from the border, but those are real. And the bottom line is we are a country of laws, and we should abide by the rule of law, and so I think that people should be here. The first step, the first real step, though, I think, in combating this problem has to do with stopping the problem at the border. That's the first thing that we can do. Politicians have been promising to fix this for dozens and dozens of years and still have never gotten the job done. And the bottom line is that we need to stop the illegal immigrants as they come in. The second thing that I will say is recognize that Virginia of course, in Virginia's 5th District, relies heavily on migrant labor through the legal worker program, the H-2A program in particular, for fruit producers, for tobacco producers. And I can tell you this, and I don't know, I don't know what the motive is, but I can tell you that this administration has been so hostile to those programs. They don't want them to succeed. When you have to pay adverse wages, when you have to pay all the transportation costs for these migrant workers.
Thank you, Congressman Hurd.
Migrant workers doesn't work.
Mr. Walsh, did you have a follow-up for Mr. Hurd?
It was unclear to me whether there was anything in your estimation that would qualify somebody to pursue, whether it be serving in the military or higher education or...
My view is we live in a country of laws, and if somebody wants citizenship in this country, they need to start in the country where they came from and go through the lawful process.
Thank you.